Good afternoon. It's great to be here in Singapore. I'm thrilled to be able to share some time with all of you today. This is a big moment, as Elizabeth was remarking earlier. It's a big moment for this industry. It's a big moment for Circle. It's actually our 10-year anniversary this year. And so it's been an amazing journey over the past 10 years. I want to actually start my comments this morning just by anchoring you in the company's very clear mission and vision, which has been consistent for us for 10 years. So the company's mission statement is literally to increase global economic prosperity through the frictionless exchange of value. And that mission was anchored in a set of insights that we had when we started the company over 10 years ago and started working on this. And we had this concept back in early 2013 that it was going to become possible to build a protocol for dollars on the internet. What we back then called an HTTP for money, HTTP being the protocol of the web and of the vast amount of information that exists in the world. And the technology was very nascent then, but we had this concept that would become possible. And it's amazing, 10 years in, and we are arriving. That has arrived. We have gotten to a place where we have a protocol for dollars on the internet. And I'm going to talk more about that shortly. But the vision that we had wasn't just about, there's this protocol. It was a vision of a safer, more inclusive global financial system, an internet financial system, from the ground up, built on the technology of the internet, a new kind of internet financial system that was safer and more inclusive. And there were a set of principles that we had when we thought about that 10 years ago. One was this idea of full reserve digital currency money. This idea that safer dollars or safer money would need to be a fully reserved money. An asset like Bitcoin is itself a full reserve money, meaning that you cannot fractionally reserve it unless you're faking it on an exchange. But we've seen that happen. But to have a base layer of money that was a full reserve expressed in a digital currency form, that this financial system, this internet financial system, would be built on open internet infrastructure. What makes the internet so powerful is that it's an open network that any device, any software can connect to and interact and scale. That is what makes it so powerful. So full reserve digital currency money on open internet infrastructure would lead to a world where the entirety of what we think of as financial activity would move on-chain. The entirety of what we think about as commercial transactions that happen between businesses and people and the like would happen on-chain. That we would see a world, when we started 10 years ago, I thought over 10, 20, even 30 years, we would see an on-chain economy where more and more of the actual economic activity of the world moved into this internet financial system. So that was the vision that we had. And again, the sort of first piece of that vision, this idea that we could get to some of these things existing, functioning, is something where we feel like we have arrived. That is sort of upon us now. But now, when we think about the strategy of our company, what are we trying to do right now? The strategy of the company today is to build the largest and most actively used stablecoin network in the world. We want to give every person on every device in the world the ability to access and use digital dollars. And by building an open network, so building an open network on open internet infrastructure, it's actually also creating a platform that developers and companies can build on top of. So we think about what we're doing as providing a platform, a network utility that anyone can plug into, anyone can connect to, anyone can build on top of. And we look at USDC as the core asset of that, as this public open network for dollars on the internet. And we see that the time has come for such an innovation to really take hold and scale. So over the past few years in particular, we've seen dramatic growth in the size and the use of that network. Remember, Circle's 10 years old, USDC's 5 years old. So it's still a young innovation. But we've seen, as noted, almost $13 trillion of on-chain transactions. We've seen that the number of applications and protocols and software utilities that connect to this network grow very significantly. And I believe that today we have decisively entered into what I call the utility value phase of blockchains and digital currency. We have moved into it. We are actually living it and breathing it today. A year and a half ago, you couldn't say that. I think today we can say that. And this phase, this utility value phase, which I think is really the next 5 to 10 years, is going to scale to billions of people who are using this on a daily basis, millions of businesses that are connecting to this and benefiting from this, and obviously trillions and trillions of dollars of transaction value. So how's that going to happen? That's what I want to talk about for the rest of my time with you today. So the first thing is the way that that is going to happen is with every single person in this room. And what's so exciting about what we see is, by building a platform around what Circle's doing and with USDC, we've seen an incredible ecosystem grow around this all around the world. And everyone in this room is part of that ecosystem in some way. And so represented in the room and in the broader ecosystem are leading payment companies and merchant settlement networks that are plugging in, P2P and B2B payment apps that are plugging in and connecting, on-chain credit and lending systems who are pioneering ways to issue and manage credit on-chain and credit delivery on blockchains, tokenization of real-world assets that are tokenizing various assets and using USDC as the way to move cash in and out of those. Remittance networks, some of the biggest remittance networks in the world plugging in and supporting USDC. Digital wallet companies for users and businesses from all across the world are building in Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia. Major consumer brands, major internet platform companies, super apps from emerging markets, global humanitarian organizations who are at the forefront of delivering aid using this technology are all part of this ecosystem. And major global banks who are connecting to and supporting this infrastructure in different ways, both as part of our infrastructure, but also using this infrastructure increasingly. Investors who are backing thousands of talented teams and entrepreneurs in all these corners of the world. Capital markets infrastructure companies, including exchanges, trading firms, asset managers, custodians, who are the firms that are ensuring that this is an always-on global market infrastructure that's safe and globally available, are part of this ecosystem. Blockchain infrastructure firms who are building the core technology and the operating systems that underlie these platforms, the networks and applications that we're all building on those operating layers. But also non-commercial think tanks, academics, analysts, policymakers who are driving thought leadership around all of this. So all of these types of organizations are part of this ecosystem, and it's the collective who that is doing this. And shortly, one of my colleagues is going to talk about a new program that we're launching that really aims to accelerate how we work with that ecosystem to accelerate growth of our businesses together. But I also want to talk about how. How are we going to do this? And I'm a technologist by background. I've been building internet technology, internet software technology for about 30 years. And so I think about things first in terms of the technology and its readiness and capabilities. And this is, if you haven't figured it out, a technology-driven disruption that's taking place. The internet and everything that the internet represents is colliding with the global financial system. The internet and open source software are the foundation. This is the air we breathe. It's the foundation for all of this technology. And it's important to sort of think about the stack, the layers of this. The internet and open software is this base layer. And then blockchains are essentially another infrastructure layer of the internet. They're like the network protocols and the operating systems that we have to build on top of. And these are crucial and important. And importantly, blockchains are not financial infrastructure. I think policymakers are making a huge mistake in thinking that blockchains are financial infrastructure. They're not, any more than TCP/IP is a financial infrastructure or HTTP is a financial infrastructure. These are general purpose technology infrastructures, and law and policy obviously needs to recognize this. But it's akin to the protocols that we have, the web protocols, security infrastructure like SSL and digital certificates and the domain name system. These are all building blocks that then allow us to build these other higher order applications. So blockchain infrastructure is very similar in that way. And this particular infrastructure is a powerful and unique human innovation because it provides, for the first time, tamper-resistant data, tamper-resistant transactions with that data, and tamper-resistant compute that runs in a globally available way. That's a set of breakthroughs in internet technology and compute and data and computing. And that technology foundation is a hugely powerful building block for society and the economy more broadly. So that's like just how I frame that and think about that. And so but the solutions for that, so blockchain infrastructure as a general neutral internet technology infrastructure, the solutions for sort of global scale adoption of that are immediately in front of us. And so this infrastructure layer is blossoming right now. Very high performance layer ones, proliferation of layer 2 blockchains that support more scaling and security. Even permissioned sidechains provide a mechanism to route traffic in different ways so that you can actually scale these networks to support internet scale adoption. And the underlying infrastructure that supports this, bandwidth, computer memory, CPU power, all of that is proliferating fast and is providing support for technology like zero-knowledge proofs, which is a critical piece for how this scales for mainstream applications. So we're seeing now, again, I'm looking at this as a technologist that's been involved in 30 years of internet infrastructure development. We're seeing now that we're solving the scalability, security, and efficiency problems. And it's never been a better time, in my view, to be building on this infrastructure than today. It is by far the best time. So Circle itself, get a little bit more into our strategy. We're building on all of this, as I think many of you are as well. And so Circle's strategy really has 3 pillars. We call these the 3 pillars of our platform, the Circle platform. Stablecoin infrastructure, stablecoin liquidity, and what we call Web3 services. So stablecoin infrastructure is the way in which, from a technology perspective, we enable digital fiat to work seamlessly, safely, efficiently on any device and in any application in the world. It's the technology infrastructure side of our stablecoin network and our stablecoin infrastructure. So there we're investing in key innovations. We're abstracting away chains, gas. We're trying to come up with ways where people can utilize stablecoins and never know they're using a blockchain and never know what the hell a gas fee is or why they would ever need to know what a particular blockchain token is. We want to make this infrastructure disappear so that it can become ubiquitous. So we're doing that through innovations like the cross-chain transfer protocol, which is now growing very quickly and is becoming a way to seamlessly teleport USDC across chains so users don't have to worry about the chain that they might be interacting with an app on. We're launching abstractions, building on recent innovations that will allow for developers to more seamlessly control paying gas fees so that that concept disappears from the user's experience and applications. And we're doing fundamental infrastructure that we're contributing as open source to provide that gas abstraction across chains. And this omni-chain availability, we're making sure that the protocols, the USDC network protocols, are available on an omni-chain basis so that wherever a developer's building an application, it'll work. And if users are interacting across those, they can do that seamlessly and safely. And all of this stablecoin infrastructure is basically just building blocks for developers. It's all public permissionless APIs, protocols, and developer infrastructure that's just on the public internet. So developers are critical, and we have huge programs around the world that we're continuing to grow, investing in developers and their use of this open public, open financial infrastructure. The second pillar is what we call stablecoin liquidity. Stablecoin liquidity is the regulated market infrastructure part of Circle. And we're one of the most regulated firms in our industry. And the goal of this pillar is really to make our stablecoins, but USDC specifically, the most widely and easily available digital dollar in the world. And so inside of this is the market infrastructure that sits behind USDC. So just as a reminder for people here, the USDC reserves themselves are the most transparent and safe reserves in this entire ecosystem by far. Approximately 95% of the reserves are held in the Circle Reserve Fund, which is an SEC registered and supervised government money fund structure issued and managed by BlackRock and custodied by Bank of New York Mellon. If you go to the USDXX ticker, you search it in your search engine, you will see every single day, every single bond, every T-bill, every instrument that backs USDC. There is no more transparent and safe reserve, period. Secondly, the cash in the fund and outside is exclusively held with global systemically important banks. And this is also critical. And we're public and transparent about it. And we obviously have attestations from one of the largest Big Four accounting firms in the world every single month, and we have since we launched 5 years ago. But we're also building a global network of banking partners. So in addition to the banking that we provide in the US, we want to make sure that this liquidity is available all around the world, so that if you happen to have a bank account in Singapore or Hong Kong or UAE or in Europe or Brazil or wherever, that you can directly integrate and create and redeem or mint and redeem USDC directly from those banking systems. And it's there, actually, I'm very excited to announce that today, Circle has officially launched our Circle Mint product in Singapore under regulatory supervision by the MAS. It is available today with domestic banking integration here in Singapore as well. So super excited about that. And we're expanding throughout the region as well. We're going to ensure that the best-in-class banking infrastructure is available for that digital dollar liquidity in the region in a number of places. The other part we're doing here is building a global network of indirect liquidity, enabling in many, many different markets around the world, seamless on and off ramps for USDC. The concept is ultimately with our stablecoin liquidity pillar is that we want to provide digital dollar dial tone everywhere in the world with USDC. The third pillar for us is what we talk about as Circle Web3 services. And really the mission here is to enable any developer or enterprise to easily and safely build, deploy, and operate on-chain applications. And there's three core pieces, and I think we're going to touch on some of these in another section here today, of the Circle Web3 Services Suite, which is a kind of crypto infrastructure as a service business for us. Programmable wallets, which provides the ability to launch self-custody wallets and developer-controlled custody wallets that work across chains, across assets, with seamless onboarding and user experiences. That's something that we launched our first flagship customer earlier this year with Grab here in Singapore that is building their Web3 wallet infrastructure on Circle programmable wallets. And recently launched our smart contract platform, which effectively creates a way for any Web2 developer to easily build, deploy, and operate safely smart contract applications. There's a template engine that makes it easy to adopt common patterns in smart contracts, reuse existing popular smart contracts. And that's really powerful, obviously, for people who want to build more advanced, automated finance, commerce, and other consumer applications. And then the third piece is what we call Circle Gas Station, which allows any developer that's deploying on this to basically automatically handle gas fees on behalf of their users so that you can build a dApp or build a Web3 app where users never have to know anything about gas, and it works seamlessly even in self-custody wallets that people are building and deploying on this. And this is a multi-chain infrastructure. This is a major new product pillar, and we're taking a lot of the infrastructure advancements that we're building around USDC, and we're also making those simple to execute. So as we think about the strategy, the pillars of what we're building, we're also trying to think about the next 10 years. We've built this to a place where this is now, we've realized sort of what I call the 1.0 vision of the company. So what does the next 10 years look like? First, we think it's a world of full reserve money. It's a world of on-chain commerce and finance. It's a world of programmable money, on-chain credit, more and more financial market functions moving to execute entirely on-chain. And I think as we think about how we execute this, all of us here collectively, I think it's important to just be anchored in the fact there's a lot of talk about policy and regulation, and there's like so much discussion around that topic. It's obviously a very important topic. But the important thing is it's actually the builders and the doers that lead the world. It's not the policymakers that lead the world. The builders and the doers lead the world. And that's what's happened over the past 5 to 10 years. We find ourselves here today with all of this advancements in technology, with Web3, with digital assets, with stablecoins, not because some policymaker decided it was important 5 or 10 years ago. It's because builders decided it was important and have been pushing on it. And we're not waiting for policy. We're going to continue to build. And policy follows innovation. As innovation reaches scale, policy needs to respond to make sure that the rough edges can be dealt with and the like. And in terms of that regulatory clarity, it's incredible to see right now. The world has established that stablecoins are powerful and desirable and here to stay. Regulatory clarity that's sort of been this mirage people look for, it's here and it's arrived all around the world in virtually every major financial market center in the world. The central banks and the key financial regulators have either set laws, issued laws, or are actively preparing to issue laws in 2024 for stablecoins. Uniform standards and requirements that are very consistent around the world. And that will take place in the next 12 months. And that will mean that stablecoins have become a core part of the global financial system, and they have become the most important foundation for the internet financial system. So our first 10 years brought us here. We've reached this 1.0 version of the internet financial system. And this is where I think all of us are really going to shine. Safe, secure, fully programmable, composable, open internet money, global and interoperable, connected to every person on every device in the world. I'm very excited to be working on this with all of you and very excited to be partnering with all of you over the next 10 years. Thank you very much.